Across the world, there are places where the past refuses to stay buried. From shadowed corridors of abandoned prisons to remote forests and desolate castles, spirits linger, and whispers echo long after life has left these walls. Some are cursed, some hold the restless dead, and others guard secrets so dark that few dare to tread near them. Tonight, we journey across continents, into the heart of fear itself, as we explore the 15 most haunted places around the world. Prepare yourself for stories that will chill your bones, sightings that defy explanation, and legends that have terrified generations. Keep your senses sharp, because in these places, the line between the living and the dead is thinner than you think. Haunted place number 1, Aokigahara Forest, Japan. Nestled at the base of Mount Fuji, Aokigahara Forest is one of the most notorious haunted places in the world, often referred to as the Suicide Forest. Walking among its dense, silent trees, visitors report an almost tangible heaviness in the air, a weight that presses down on the chest and seeps into the mind. The forest floor is littered with twisted roots, hidden caves, and remnants of past tragedies, giving it an eerie, almost otherworldly atmosphere. Those who have ventured deep into its heart tell of shadowy figures glimpsed between the trees, of whispers carried on the wind that seem to call out names or repeat chilling phrases. Some speak of sudden silences that fall over the forest, where even the birdsong seems to vanish, leaving an oppressive stillness that sets nerves on edge. Historically, Aokigahara has been associated with death and the supernatural for centuries, and this legacy has only intensified its reputation. Hikers and locals alike have recounted moments where they felt unseen eyes watching, or footsteps following closely behind, yet when they turned, nothing was there. There are also stories of tormented spirits who have become trapped in the forest, forever wandering, mourning, or seeking to lead the living into the same despair. The trees themselves seem almost alive, their gnarled branches reaching like grasping hands, casting unnatural shadows that make familiar paths disorienting and treacherous. Many visitors claim that time behaves strangely within Aokigahara, with hours seeming to stretch into eternity, and the forest's maze-like layout causing people to become hopelessly lost. The legends speak of apparitions of those who met their end here, visible only fleetingly or in peripheral vision, leaving onlookers with a sense of being observed by forces beyond comprehension. Compounding the fear are the occasional sounds of crying, muttering, or faint laughter, echoing through the trees, growing louder when one stops to listen, only to vanish when investigated. The forest has inspired countless paranormal investigations, horror stories, and folklore. It is said that the spirits within are not always hostile, but their sorrow and anger are palpable, making the air thick with unease. Visitors often report feeling sudden chills, heart-pounding anxiety, and the sensation of being touched or brushed by invisible hands. The combination of natural eeriness, historical weight, and tragic human stories makes Aokigahara not just a forest, but a place where the living and dead feel almost indistinguishable. For anyone daring to venture here, Aokigahara is a stark reminder of the power of unresolved death, the lingering energy of despair, and the mysteries that persist beyond the veil. Even from the forest's edge, the sense of 1,000 unseen watchers, the quiet rustling of leaves, and the stories carried on the wind are enough to haunt the imagination long after leaving its shadowed paths. Number 2. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, USA. Eastern State Penitentiary stands as a chilling monument to America's dark history of incarceration. Opened in 1829, this imposing structure was designed to reform prisoners through isolation, a practice that instead seemed to amplify despair and suffering. Its massive stone walls and long, narrow cell blocks create an atmosphere that is heavy, oppressive, and eerily silent, broken only by the occasional echo of a footstep or distant clang of a door. Visitors report a cold that seeps into the bones, far more intense than any winter air could produce, lingering in the corners of each cell like the residue of long-past misery. The prison's reputation for hauntings is legendary. Shadowy figures are often glimpsed at the end of empty corridors, vanishing when approached, leaving a sense that the walls themselves are alive with memories of tormented inmates. Disembodied voices whisper names, recount forgotten conversations, or cry out in anguish, unnerving both casual tourists and paranormal investigators alike. Some have reported doors slamming shut on their own, chains rattling in abandoned rooms, and sudden, unexplained gusts of freezing air that sweep through hallways. The history of Eastern State Penitentiary is inseparable from its hauntings. Designed to isolate prisoners from human contact, the cells became prisons of the mind, where the weight of solitude led to madness, despair, and sometimes death. Accounts from former guards and visitors alike describe hearing footsteps pacing in unoccupied cell blocks, faint voices murmuring prayers, and shadows that move independently of the light. The building itself, with its Gothic arches and looming towers, casts long, disorienting shadows that make even the bravest visitor question whether they are truly alone. Stories of apparitions often focus on inmates who met tragic ends. Figures dressed in tattered prison garb have been seen peering from cell doorways, standing silently in corridors, or wandering the exercise yards at night. Investigators have captured unexplained orbs, fleeting silhouettes, and electronic disturbances, all adding to the prison's aura of unrest. Visitors sometimes report a sense of being watched, their presence felt long before anyone or anything appears. Today, Eastern State Penitentiary is a museum and tourist attraction, but the legacy of its grim past lingers in every stone and shadow. It serves as a reminder of the extreme human suffering contained within its walls and the lingering energies that refuse to fade. Even under daylight, the sense of oppression and the whispers of the past seem to cling to the corridors, making it one of the most haunted prisons in the world. Number 3. Poveglia Island, Italy. Poveglia Island sits ominously in the Venetian lagoon, its silhouette a dark blot against the water, shrouded in mist and heavy with centuries of tragedy. Known as one of the most terrifying places in the world, this small island has a history soaked in sorrow, disease, and human suffering. Originally a quarantine zone for victims of the bubonic plague, thousands of bodies were burned and buried here, leaving a lingering sense of death that reportedly permeates the very soil. Visitors speak of an unsettling heaviness in the air, a weight that presses down on the chest and makes every step across the cracked, overgrown paths feel like a trespass into the past. Later, the island became the site of an insane asylum, and the stories grow even darker. Patients were confined in harsh conditions, often restrained and subjected to cruel treatments. Legends tell of screams echoing across the deserted buildings, of figures appearing at windows and disappearing when approached, and of shadows moving through the abandoned halls where no human footstep should be heard. The asylum's presence has left an indelible mark on the island, and many who visit report experiencing sudden chills, whispers in empty rooms, and feelings of being watched by unseen eyes. Those brave or perhaps foolish enough to explore the crumbling buildings describe doors that slam with no wind, lights that flicker inexplicably, and cold spots that follow them through the hallways. Some claim to have seen tortured apparitions wandering aimlessly, their faces contorted with anguish, as if reliving their suffering for eternity. Even the water surrounding Poveglia seems restless, with tales of ghostly figures seen drifting along the shoreline or disappearing beneath the waves. The island's grim reputation has made it off-limits to the public, yet stories of paranormal activity persist, drawing thrill-seekers and investigators from around the world. Cameras occasionally capture unexplained mists, orbs of light, and silhouettes that vanish as quickly as they appear. Locals speak in hushed tones about hearing cries on calm nights, voices carried across the lagoon from a place that time has long abandoned. Poveglia Island remains a symbol of human suffering, a site where the dead and the tormented are said to linger, refusing to rest. Its haunted past continues to captivate and terrify, standing as one of the most chilling locations on Earth. Every ruin, every shadow, and every whisper tells a story of a place that has been claimed by darkness, a place that challenges the brave to confront the unexplainable. Number 4. Kilmainham Jail, Dublin, Ireland. Kilmainham Jail stands as a stark reminder of Ireland's turbulent history, its stone walls soaked with centuries of suffering, rebellion, and death. Built in the late 18th century, this prison once held thousands of men and women, many of whom were involved in uprisings against British rule. The gallows, cold cells, and shadowed corridors witnessed executions, harsh punishments, and the despair of inmates whose cries and pleas now seem to echo through the building long after their deaths. Walking through Kilmainham, the air feels heavy, thick with the memory of those who endured unimaginable hardship, and visitors often report a chilling sense of being watched by unseen eyes. Every corridor tells a story of fear and endurance. Prisoners' footsteps are said to echo when no one is there, and the faint clinking of chains has been reported by guides and visitors alike. Some have claimed to feel sudden cold spots while standing near the cells where revolutionaries awaited their fate, or to hear whispers that seem to float through the stone passageways, carrying the anguish of long-dead voices. The shadows seem to move in corners where the light barely reaches, and apparitions dressed in period clothing have been caught in photographs, disappearing when observers approach. The history of Kilmainham Jail is inseparable from its hauntings. During the Easter Rising of 1916, many rebels were executed here, and their spirits are said to linger, replaying the final moments of their lives in restless loops. Guides recount encounters with mysterious figures in uniforms from different eras, as if the prison itself refuses to forget the people who shaped its history through suffering and defiance. Cold drafts sweep through empty hallways without explanation, and some visitors report feelings of dread and heaviness that linger long after leaving the gates. Even the exterior of Kilmainham contributes to its eerie presence. The imposing stone facade, the iron gates, and the shadowed courtyard seem to watch over all who approach, hinting at the countless lives trapped within over 2 centuries. At night, the building takes on a spectral quality, its history of incarceration, punishment, and political turmoil palpable to anyone brave enough to linger. Kilmainham Jail is more than a historic site. It is a place where the past refuses to stay buried. The spirits of prisoners and revolutionaries are said to remain, haunting the cells, corridors, and courtyards, a chilling reminder of the cost of rebellion and the shadows history can cast. This is a prison where every stone, every chain, and every echo tells a story of human suffering and unresolved spirits. Number 5. Tower of London, England. The Tower of London is a fortress steeped in over 1,000 years of blood, power, and betrayal. Its imposing walls have witnessed countless executions, imprisonments, and political intrigues, leaving behind a lingering presence that many say cannot be explained by history alone. Visitors and guards alike report sudden chills along the corridors, shadowy figures gliding through the stone halls, and fleeting glimpses of apparitions dressed in medieval attire. The echoes of the past seem to hang in the air, thick and oppressive, as though the very stones remember every act of cruelty and every life lost within its walls. Perhaps the most famous ghost is Anne Boleyn, the ill-fated queen executed for treason in 1536. Witnesses claim to see her headless form wandering the tower, appearing near the site of her beheading, silently retracing her final steps. Others have reported seeing the ghost of Lady Jane Grey, the 9 Days Queen, who met a similar tragic fate, her pale figure moving quietly along the halls, accompanied by a feeling of profound sorrow. The spirits of executed prisoners, guards, and royal figures are said to be trapped between worlds, replaying moments of fear, betrayal, and anguish that were never allowed to fade. The tower's darker corners and shadowed stairwells are infamous for sudden temperature drops and eerie noises. The clang of unseen chains, the distant footfalls of long-dead soldiers, and the faint whispers of conversations from centuries past have been reported by both visitors and staff. Many claim to have felt invisible touches or the sensation of being followed, particularly near the Bloody Tower and the White Tower, areas notorious for executions and imprisonment. Each stone seems to hum with the energy of the past, making it clear that the tower is more than a monument to history. It is a prison for the restless spirits of those who died within its walls. Even outside, the fortress exudes a chilling presence. Its towers cast long shadows over the surrounding grounds, and the Thames waters seem to murmur stories of betrayal, loss, and execution. Nighttime tours often reveal ghostly figures near the walls, sometimes glimpsed moving across battlements, or appearing suddenly in photographs where no one was standing. The atmosphere is thick with centuries of tragedy and unresolved suffering, making the tower one of the most haunted sites not only in England but in the entire world. From spectral royals to tormented prisoners, the Tower of London is alive with the past in ways that transcend history books. Each apparition, each unexplained sound, and each shadowed corridor tells a story of power, death, and unrest, leaving a chilling mark on everyone who dares to walk its halls. Number 6. Bhangarh Fort, India. Bhangarh Fort, nestled in the rugged Aravalli Hills of Rajasthan, India, is one of the most infamous haunted locations in the world. The fort and its surrounding abandoned town carry stories that have survived for centuries, drawing thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts from across the globe. Locals insist that the entire area is cursed, the legacy of a sorcerer who fell in love with a princess and upon being rejected, cast a powerful spell that doomed the city and its residents forever. Visitors often describe an unsettling energy even during the day. The crumbling walls, silent temples, and deserted streets create an atmosphere of desolation and menace. As the sun sets, the fort transforms. Shadows lengthen unnaturally, whispers echo through the empty lanes, and many claim to feel invisible eyes watching them from the ruins. Numerous people have reported hearing distant footsteps, ghostly voices calling out, and fleeting glimpses of dark silhouettes darting between broken structures. The most chilling tales revolve around the curse itself. Locals warn that anyone who dares to stay inside the fort after dark will face terrifying consequences, often unseen but deeply felt. Travelers recount sudden feelings of nausea, disorientation, or being pushed by invisible hands. Some speak of hearing laughter or chanting carried on the wind, voices that seem to emerge from nowhere and vanish without a trace. Even experienced guides refuse to stay beyond twilight, believing that the spirits of the cursed city roam freely at night. Beyond the fort, the abandoned town amplifies the sense of dread. Empty homes and temples stand frozen in decay, their walls etched with centuries of sorrow. Animals avoid the area, adding to the eerie silence, while the landscape itself seems to close in on intruders, the hills and rocks amplifying every sound into something ghostly. Photographers and urban explorers have captured strange orbs of light, unexplained shadows, and figures that appear where no one should be. Bhangarh Fort is more than just ruins. It is a place where history, legend, and paranormal energy collide. Its cursed reputation is not mere folklore, it is felt, seen, and experienced by those who venture close. The stories of vengeful spirits, dark magic, and an entire city trapped in eternal unrest make Bhangarh Fort one of the most terrifying locations on the planet. Number 7. Chateau de Brissac, France. Chateau de Brissac, located in the Loire Valley of France, stands as one of the tallest castles in the country and one of the most haunted. Its elegant towers and lavish halls hide dark secrets that have spanned centuries. Known for the legend of the Green Lady, the castle's ghostly resident is said to be the spirit of Charlotte de Brissac, a young woman who met a tragic end under mysterious circumstances. Visitors and staff report seeing her figure dressed in a flowing green gown wandering silently through the castle corridors, often near the chapel or the grand staircases. The sightings of the Green Lady are accompanied by other chilling phenomena. People have heard soft weeping, sudden cold drafts, and footsteps echoing in empty wings. Doors are reported to slam shut without warning, and objects occasionally move on their own as if guided by unseen hands. Some have described glimpsing her reflection in mirrors where no one stands, or seeing a shadow pass along walls where light should not reach. Her presence is said to be most intense at night, when the castle's ancient stones seem to hold their breath, amplifying every creak and groan into something more sinister. The castle's history adds weight to the haunting. Built in the 11th century and extensively renovated in the 15th century, it has witnessed murders, betrayals, and centuries of aristocratic intrigue. Many believe that the tragic events of the past have left a lingering spiritual imprint, giving rise to restless energies that refuse to leave. Guides often recount stories from visitors who claim to have felt an invisible hand brush their shoulder, heard whispers of warning, or been watched by eyes that vanish when turned toward them. Guests who have spent the night report unease and difficulty sleeping. The rooms themselves seem alive with memory. The long corridors amplify footsteps, the towering ceilings echo every creak, and the flickering candlelight casts shadows that twist unnaturally. Even experienced paranormal investigators admit that the energy in Chateau de Brissac is unlike that in any other location, a persistent presence that refuses to be ignored. Number 8. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, West Virginia, USA. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, nestled in the hills of West Virginia, is a sprawling Gothic structure that was once home to thousands of patients during the 19th and 20th centuries. Its stone walls and endless hallways conceal decades of suffering, mistreatment, and despair, leaving behind an energy that many say lingers to this day. Visitors report walking through the abandoned wards only to feel an icy chill that seems to follow them, even in the brightest daylight. Shadows flit across the walls, sometimes visible just at the edge of the eye, vanishing when looked at directly. The asylum's history amplifies its haunting. Built to house the mentally ill, it was overcrowded for most of its operational life, and treatment methods were harsh by today's standards. Patients' cries, long silenced, are said to echo through the halls in whispers, moans, and sometimes guttural screams. Guests have reported hearing doors creak open and shut with no one near, footsteps pacing corridors, and faint voices calling names that no one spoke aloud. The sheer magnitude of the building, with its multiple wings and hidden rooms, adds to the disorienting and terrifying atmosphere. Many claim to have encountered shadowy figures moving along empty hallways, some resembling patients still in tattered uniforms, while others appear as menacing presences watching from doorways. Paranormal investigators have recorded cold spots, unexplained orbs of light, and electronic voice phenomena (EVPs) in areas once used for solitary confinement and treatment rooms. Some visitors even report sensations of being touched or brushed by unseen hands, intensifying the feeling that the asylum is still very much alive with restless spirits. Tours of the asylum are not for the faint of heart. Guests are warned about the oppressive energy that seems to grow as night falls, the echoing sounds of distant footsteps, and doors that slam with force despite no apparent cause. The building's stone architecture, while impressive, traps sound in eerie ways, amplifying every creak, groan, and whisper into something chillingly human yet impossible to trace. Even those who enter with skepticism leave uneasy, sensing a presence that refuses to be explained or ignored. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is more than an abandoned building. It is a monument to human suffering, despair, and lingering souls. Its halls bear witness to the stories of those who lived, suffered, and died within its walls, leaving behind a haunting that continues to intrigue, terrify, and draw those daring enough to walk its dark corridors. Every creaking floorboard and whispering hallway reminds visitors that some spirits refuse to rest. Number 9. Joliet Correctional Center, Illinois, USA. Joliet Correctional Center, often referred to simply as Joliet Prison, looms ominously on the outskirts of Chicago. Its Gothic architecture, complete with stone towers, arched windows, and iron gates, gives the facility a menacing presence even in daylight. Opened in 1858, it has housed countless criminals, some notorious, and its history is steeped in violence, despair, and tragedy. Over the decades, countless accounts have surfaced from inmates, guards, and visitors claiming encounters with the prison's lingering spirits. Walking through the abandoned cell blocks, visitors often report feeling an oppressive weight, as though unseen eyes are watching every step. Shadow figures are said to move along the corridors, disappearing when approached, yet leaving behind an undeniable chill in the air. Some have heard the echoing clank of chains, distant footsteps pacing the halls, or whispers carrying through walls that should have long since fallen silent. Every corner seems to harbor a story of someone who suffered, whether through punishment, confinement, or execution. The prison's history only adds to its haunted reputation. Executions, riots, and fights among inmates left deep emotional imprints, and some say those energies never left. Reports of apparitions include shadowy figures standing silently in the doorway of cells, sometimes resembling former guards or inmates frozen in time. Visitors have also claimed to hear doors slam shut with no cause, mysterious laughter, or the faint hum of voices repeating conversations from decades past. Even the exterior of Joliet Prison carries an eerie presence. Its towering walls and iron gates cast long dark lines across the grounds, especially as the sun sets. Many who walk the outer yard report strange sensations, a sudden drop in temperature, and the feeling of being followed despite no one being visible. Paranormal investigations have detected unexplained electromagnetic activity, cold spots, and captured EVPs that suggest the building is alive with the echoes of its past. Today, Joliet Correctional Center is no longer operational, yet it continues to draw thrill seekers, historians, and ghost hunters alike. Its haunted reputation is well earned, with every creaking floorboard, shadowed hallway, and distant clatter hinting at the countless lives that have left their mark on this imposing structure. For those brave enough to step inside, the prison offers a chilling reminder that some spirits cannot be confined by walls or time. Number 10. Pentridge Prison, Melbourne, Australia. Pentridge Prison, located in the northern suburbs of Melbourne, is infamous for its brutal history and the notorious inmates it once housed. Opened in 1851, it operated for more than a century, serving as Australia's primary facility for some of its most violent criminals. Executions, riots, and violent incidents were commonplace, leaving behind a heavy legacy that many believe has imprinted itself on the very walls of the prison. Today, even abandoned, Pentridge exudes a palpable sense of dread that has earned it a place among the most haunted prisons in the world. Inside the remaining cell blocks, visitors often report feeling sudden chills, as if an invisible presence is brushing past them. Footsteps echo along empty corridors, yet no one is there, and shadowy figures are frequently glimpsed out of the corner of the eye. Some claim to have heard muffled screams, rattling chains, and the cries of inmates who met violent ends within the walls. The more notorious cells, particularly those that once housed condemned prisoners, seem to radiate a sense of despair and unease that is impossible to ignore. Many of the hauntings are tied to the executions that took place within Pentridge. Witnesses report seeing ghostly figures hanging or appearing as translucent forms in the dimly lit hallways. The violent history of the prison seems to manifest through sudden temperature drops, disembodied voices, and objects moving inexplicably. Paranormal investigators have captured EVPs, flickering lights, and unexplained shadows, all pointing to the lingering presence of those who met untimely deaths inside the prison. Even the exterior of Pentridge holds an unsettling aura. Its high walls, barbed wire, and foreboding gates make it a landmark that commands attention and fear. Locals tell stories of ghostly figures wandering the yard at night and eerie noises carrying through the empty grounds. These accounts have made the site a magnet for thrill seekers, historians, and paranormal enthusiasts, all drawn to the chilling energy that seems to seep from every corner. Despite being partially redeveloped and repurposed in recent years, Pentridge Prison maintains its reputation as a place where the past refuses to rest. The spirits of executed prisoners and violent inmates are said to roam the abandoned corridors, leaving visitors with a deep sense of unease. For those who dare to explore its history, the prison serves as a stark reminder that some places are marked forever by the pain and violence that occurred within them. Number 11. Changi Prison, Singapore. Changi Prison in Singapore stands as a chilling reminder of one of the darkest periods in history. Built in the 1930s, it became infamous during World War II when Japanese forces used it to hold thousands of Allied prisoners of war under brutal conditions. Starvation, forced labor, and cruel punishments were routine, leaving behind a heavy legacy of suffering and despair that many believe still lingers in the prison today. Visitors and former guards alike have reported encounters that defy explanation. Cold spots appear suddenly in empty corridors, and the echo of distant cries and footsteps reverberates through the cells long after lights are turned off. Some claim to see shadowy figures peering from barred windows or walking silently along the prison wings. Others describe an oppressive feeling that weighs down the chest, as if the lingering presence of those who endured unimaginable torment is watching and judging. The haunting is most intense in the cells where POWs were confined in overcrowded, squalid conditions. Many have reported hearing muffled voices whispering names, shouting for help, or chanting prayers that fade as quickly as they appear. Strange sounds of clanking chains and doors slamming shut echo without cause, leaving visitors unsettled and anxious. Paranormal investigators have captured unexplained audio and video phenomena, reinforcing Changi's reputation as one of the world's most haunted prisons. Even outside the cell blocks, the prison grounds carry an eerie weight. The compound's high walls, barbed wire, and watchtowers create an atmosphere of isolation that magnifies every sound and shadow. Locals have shared stories of ghostly figures pacing the grounds at night and unexplained lights moving through the empty exercise yards. Each tale seems to echo the anguish and suffering of those who were imprisoned here decades ago. Changi Prison is more than a historical site. It is a place where history and the supernatural intersect. The spirits of prisoners who endured hardship, fear, and death appear to remain trapped within its walls, unwilling to move on. For anyone brave enough to step inside, the prison offers a haunting glimpse into the past, proving that the horrors of war do not always end with time. Number 12. Black Dolphin Prison, Russia. Black Dolphin Prison, located in Soliletsk near the Russian border, is one of the most secure and notorious correctional facilities in the world. Housing the country's most dangerous and violent criminals, the prison has a fearsome reputation for strict discipline and near-constant surveillance. Yet, beyond its walls of steel and barbed wire, stories persist of chilling paranormal activity that has left both guards and visitors uneasy. The prison itself has an oppressive atmosphere. Long, narrow corridors echo with footsteps, but sometimes these sounds are reported when no one is present. Shadows appear to move independently, slipping along the walls and disappearing around corners. Prisoners themselves, though physically present, sometimes speak of seeing figures in the hallways, or hearing whispering voices in languages no one around seems to understand. The sense of being watched is constant, a feeling that unnerves even the most hardened inmates. Visitors have shared accounts of hearing anguished cries at night, screams that seem to come from deep within the walls, echoing with a despair that feels palpable. Some report seeing spectral forms pacing the exercise yards, sometimes lined up in formation, other times wandering aimlessly as though trapped in time. Paranormal investigators have noted unexplained temperature drops in certain areas, and some claim to have captured ghostly figures on camera that vanish as quickly as they appear. The prison's history adds to its haunting presence. Over decades, it has held criminals who committed horrific acts, leaving a residue of anger, fear, and suffering embedded in the building. Some say that the spirits of these inmates never truly left, trapped by the intensity of their crimes and the harshness of their confinement. Even guards with years of experience describe sudden chills, shadowy movements, and unexplainable sounds during night shifts, events that defy logical explanation. Black Dolphin Prison is more than just a maximum security facility. It is a place where the line between reality and the supernatural seems blurred. Within its walls, the echoes of past lives, pain, and fear persist, a reminder that some of the darkest human experiences leave impressions far beyond the living. Stepping into Black Dolphin is stepping into a realm where history, horror, and the paranormal converge, making it one of the most unsettling haunted prisons on Earth. Number 13. La Sante Prison, Paris, France. La Sante Prison, situated in the heart of Paris, is infamous not just for its history of crime and punishment but also for the lingering shadows of its past. Established in the late 19th century, this prison has witnessed countless stories of despair, violence, and heartbreak. Its thick stone walls have absorbed the anguish of prisoners who spent years, sometimes decades, behind bars, and many believe that this sorrow has left a permanent mark, giving rise to numerous paranormal reports. Visitors and former inmates alike speak of hearing anguished screams echoing through the corridors, often in sections long abandoned or sealed off from the public. These cries are sometimes accompanied by cold drafts that sweep through the cells, even when doors and windows are tightly shut. Guards on night shifts have reported the sensation of unseen eyes following them as they patrol, and some claim that heavy doors have slammed shut by themselves, trapping those inside temporarily. Shadowy figures are a common sight at La Sante. Many have described dark shapes moving silently through corridors or emerging briefly from cells before vanishing into thin air. In some instances, the apparitions are reported as transparent, fleeting enough to be gone the moment one looks directly at them. Prison staff recount incidents of disembodied footsteps pacing alongside them, steps that echo with a rhythm unlike any human gait. The combination of visual and auditory phenomena has led many to believe that the spirits of former inmates remain, endlessly wandering the halls they once called home. The prison's grim history amplifies its haunting reputation. Executions, riots, and harsh punishments were commonplace, leaving an imprint of fear and anger. Some visitors report seeing shadowed figures of prisoners reenacting moments of despair, such as walking aimlessly in cells or crouching in corners as if hiding from guards. Others claim to have heard whispers, sometimes calling names or murmuring fragmented sentences in French, echoing the voices of the long departed. La Sante Prison stands as a stark reminder that places of suffering can carry an invisible weight. It is not merely a building of stone and steel, but a repository of human emotion, pain, and unrest. For those who enter its ancient halls, the echoes of the past linger long after leaving, making La Sante one of the most chilling and haunted prisons in the world. Number 14. Diyarbakir Prison, Turkey. Diyarbakir Prison, located in southeastern Turkey, is infamous not only for its harsh treatment of political prisoners but also for the chilling legends that have grown around it over decades. Established in the early 20th century, the prison gained notoriety during times of political upheaval, housing countless individuals accused of dissent. Stories of torture, solitary confinement, and extreme punishment have left deep emotional scars, and many believe that the suffering has never truly left the walls, giving rise to a persistent haunting. Visitors to the abandoned sections of Diyarbakir Prison often report eerie sounds that seem to float through the empty halls. Faint cries, wails, and murmurs are said to echo from cells long since closed, sometimes growing louder without warning, only to vanish suddenly. The air in certain wings feels oppressively heavy, with sudden cold drafts brushing against those walking the corridors, even on hot days. Guards and urban explorers alike have described an unsettling sensation of being watched, as though unseen eyes track every movement. Shadowy apparitions are a frequent phenomenon within the prison. Many have reported fleeting figures of prisoners in tattered clothing, appearing in corners or along stairwells before disappearing when approached. Some witnesses describe seeing groups of ghostly figures, seemingly reenacting moments of confinement or unrest. Others report hearing whispered conversations in Turkish, echoes of past inmates sharing words of fear, defiance, or despair that linger long after the voices themselves have faded. The prison's grim history deepens its spectral reputation. Diyarbakir Prison became notorious for its political violence and repression, leaving an indelible mark on the building and its surroundings. Many locals believe that the spirits of those who suffered injustice or lost their lives in the prison continue to haunt its abandoned wings, their anguish manifesting as sudden noises, moving shadows, and ghostly apparitions. Walking through Diyarbakir Prison today is an unsettling experience. The empty cells, rusting bars, and crumbling walls carry a weight of history, both human and supernatural. For those who venture into its deserted wings, the echoes of the past are a constant reminder that suffering, fear, and oppression can leave behind more than memories. They can leave behind restless spirits that refuse to be forgotten. Number 15. Old City Jail, Charleston, USA. Old City Jail in Charleston, South Carolina, stands as a chilling reminder of the city's grim past. Built in the early 1800s, this historic prison housed countless inmates, many of whom met their end behind its stone walls. Executions, disease, and harsh conditions contributed to a dark energy that seems to linger long after the facility ceased functioning as a jail. The jail is notorious for being one of the most haunted locations in Charleston, drawing paranormal enthusiasts and thrill-seekers from across the country. Visitors often report sudden drops in temperature as they move through the narrow corridors and damp cells. Cold spots appear without explanation, leaving people shivering even on warm days. Whispered voices echo from empty rooms, and some guests claim to hear the chains of long-dead prisoners clanking in abandoned cells. These inexplicable occurrences have led many to believe that the tortured souls of those executed within the jail remain trapped, replaying their final moments over and over. Shadowy figures are another frequent phenomenon in Old City Jail. Guests have seen ghostly shapes gliding past barred windows or standing silently in corners, vanishing when approached. Some have described seeing the fleeting outlines of hooded figures, thought to be former prisoners waiting for their sentence to end. Others report sudden feelings of dread or being watched, as if unseen eyes are constantly tracking their movements through the darkened hallways. The jail's history only adds to the fear. Its use as a prison spanned decades of turmoil, including times of economic hardship, political unrest, and public executions. The suffering endured by its inmates left an emotional imprint on the building, which manifests through paranormal activity experienced by visitors. Those who have explored Old City Jail often report hearing muffled screams, footsteps that echo down empty halls, and doors opening or closing on their own. Walking through Old City Jail is a harrowing experience, even for those skeptical of the supernatural. The thick stone walls, narrow cells, and lingering shadows create an oppressive atmosphere that feels alive with the energy of the past. Every corner tells a story of fear, despair, and lingering spirits. For anyone daring enough to enter, it becomes clear that the jail is more than just a historical site. It is a place where the echoes of the executed refuse to rest. These 15 haunted places are more than historic sites. They are vessels of lingering fear, sorrow, and unfinished stories. From shadowy prisons to cursed forests and forsaken hospitals, each location holds echoes of the past that refuse to fade. Visiting them is not just a journey through geography, but a journey into the unknown, where the line between the living and the dead blurs. If you feel brave enough, step into these haunted realms and witness the stories firsthand. Share your experiences, tell us which place chills you the most, and don't forget to like and subscribe to explore even deeper into the world's most terrifying locations. Every tale proves that some spirits never truly rest, and every visit may bring you closer to the unknown than you ever expected.